Side-scrolling platformers have been around for such a long time that it can be difficult for even the best games in the genre to stand out from the crowd. Kirby's epic yarn avoids this pitfall by presenting one of the most irresistible visual styles around. This delectable world uses mundane fabric materials in such imaginative ways that it's worth playing through this lengthy adventure just to see what new twist will cause you to squirm with delight for the umpteenth time. Kirby's latest adventure may be impressive to behold, but once you start collecting beads and tossing enemies, you realize it's the solid gameplay and versatile level design that weaves a smug lock around your attention. Every stage presents a new challenge, creating a whirlwind of unpredictable fun that stretches to the final boss and beyond. With loads of minigames, hidden levels, and even an aggravation-free cooperative mode, Kirby's foray into the land of yarn is bursting with joy. Who would have ever thought that yarn could be this cute? For some reason that really doesn't matter, Kirby has been transported from his happy world in Dreamland to Patchland, a place where the creatures are made out of yarn and the environments look like finely detailed pieces of fabric. There are so many charming touches that it's impossible to list them all. Enemies unravel with a flick of your wrist, backgrounds smushed together when you pull a loose thread. It's so charming that it's difficult to play this without a smile plastered on your face. This is just the cutest game around. But don't think that Kirby is all looks. The gameplay and visuals mesh beautifully, taking full advantage of the storybook world to create enticing scenarios. There are 50 levels in Epic Yarn, including a few boss fights and secret worlds. Kirby's limited moveset allows him to jump and grab onto enemies, which he can then toss, but handy and adorable transformations give him a few new tricks. You can turn to a parachute at any time to float to a faraway platform, morph into a car for a quick speed burst, or change into a tiny submarine complete with propeller when underwater. These tricks help keep the gameplay diverse, but the controls are not always perfect. Grabbing onto enemies can be finicky, especially in crowded situations, and the dash technique sometimes triggers accidentally, and other times doesn't seem to work even when you need it to. But other than that, the slow-paced action feels solid and looks incredible. The most noteworthy element is Kirby's ability to transform. This has always been a staple of the series, but it's handled slightly different here. Instead of swallowing your foes whole and stealing their powers, you instead change into different vehicles at specific points. This does strip away your control over Kirby's transformation, but you really won't care when you're cruising around as UFO, sucking up blocks, beads, and baddies with your handy tractor beam. Although this is one of the most empowering vehicles you pilot, it can't hold a candle to the exhilarating rush you feel as a speeding spaceship. When Kirby takes this form, the levels change into classic shoot-'em-ups, and it's a blast to weave through bullets and gun down your enemies. The one transformation that doesn't pay off is the train. This is a callback to the DS game Kirby Canvas Curse, letting you paint your path by laying down tracks. But Kirby doesn't always follow the tracks like you expect, and he can be turned around just by barely nudging a corner. Still, the vehicles are a great change of pace from the jumping action. The biggest drawback in Kirby, though, is how easy it is. There's no clock urging you forward, nor is there any way to die. So you just jump from one platform to the next without any fear of failure, quickening your pulse. This ease is mitigated slightly by the medal system that rewards you for not getting hit too often. However, getting a gold medal can be done in your first run in most levels, so even perfectionists will be able to cruise through most of the game without stumbling. The extreme ease is most noticeable in the boss fights. The bosses, imposing foes who are just as lovable as the hero they're trying to squash, are big pushovers. Don't be mistaken. Matching wits with a magician or smiting a dragon is certainly fun, but the lack of punishment makes even the largest enemies cower in your presence. It isn't until you check out the minigames that things become a little more challenging. Usually minigames don't sound like a compelling alternative to the enticing platforming adventure, but that's not the case here. There are 5 unique game types: hide and seek, race, bead collection, carry your friend to the end, and bad guy bash. And all of them are fun. There are sections pulled straight from the adventure with a few modifications, and can be tricky. Time is your fiercest foe here, and trying to nab the last bead while the seconds count down is pretty darn tense. It would have been nice to see some of this difficulty in the main quest, but at least there's a place to go for people who want their reflexes tested. If all of this sounds great, and it is, but you wish you could share those charming pleasures with a friend, you're in luck. The entire game, including the minigames, can be played simultaneously with a buddy, and it works really well. Kirby teams up with Prince Fluff, an amorphous blue blob that contrasts wonderfully with Kirby's pink skin. Thankfully, you can't bump into each other, so you can both breeze through levels without too much trouble. There is a bit of griefing if you want, since you can pick up and toss your friend around, but it's all in good fun. This is a great complement to the single-player game and gives you another way to experience this fine adventure. Kirby's Epic Yarn is definitely on the easy side. You won't ever have to worry about dying, and it's not too hard getting top marks and all the hidden collectibles your first time through each level. But even though this is a breeze, it's still really darn fun. From the delectable visuals to the ever-changing level design, this is a game that simply exudes charm. Kirby's Epic Yarn is a great platformer that goes beyond its eye-catching aesthetics to deliver an irresistible adventure that's difficult to put down.